Okay, we're going to explore the complicated subject of audio interfaces and audio drivers, and if any of you have actually just tried to plug a MIDI keyboard in and play some virtual instruments, the first thing you usually notice is it's a bit of a joke trying to get the timing because there's such a big delay. The latency between pressing the key and actually getting the sound is well, usually horrendous until you get it all sorted out. So what I've got here, I've just got it's one of the virtual instruments that comes with live, the analog synth, and I've just loaded up a percussion sample, and I've got a keyboard plugged in. And I'm going to press a note and I'm going to try and make it so you can hear me pressing the key sound, and then you'll hear the sound of the synth a little bit later. And you'll notice that you hear the key go down, and then a few milliseconds later you hear the instrument itself, and it can be quite off-putting, that. So what we need to do is go into the options and preferences, and if I look under the audio section, I've just got one of the standard drivers that comes with Windows, and unfortunately Windows don't really, Microsoft don't seem to spend much time thinking about musicians. It's to be honest, the sound card drivers that come with standard computers are just useless, absolutely useless. So what we need to do is, if you've got an ASIO driver installed, then whatever you do, make sure you use it. And generally ASIO drivers come with a half decent audio interface, and what I've got here is a Behringer USB audio interface. Now the Behringer device, if I can just flick and show you this, it's something like this, and it's a really nice one, because that's actually about its size, real size. We've got the USB cable socket here, and we've got an input. It's just a standard sort of phono leads, left and right input and a left and right output. And this one's actually got a phone socket, a volume control, and an optical output. So that's going to be sort of a digital, SP diff out, something like that. The one it's a bit more complicated than the one I use, this, because mine's just got the left and right inputs and outputs. But it's just really handy, for a laptop. You can carry it around in a laptop case, and then you can just plug these into speakers or whatever. And the good thing about it, it's only a cheap thing. It's probably £25 will get you one of these. But they're really handy for getting rid of the latency. They're not the best quality out there, but they're certainly better than what comes with the standard laptop sound card. So if I select this and just click off, hopefully if I do the same thing again, we'll notice a big improvement. And you probably won't hear it now, because the sound of me clicking on the key is being masked by the sound of the instrument, so it's happening at the same time. And there's a fraction of delay, but nothing as bad as before. And again, if we go back into options, we can kind of sort all this out. We can see exactly what's going on. So usually with a ASIO driver, we get a hardware setup. So if I click on ASIO, and this is what they check each one slightly different depending on what the interface is. And on this one, I've got it selected to fast. Now you're probably thinking, well, just set it to the highest speed, but life isn't that simple. And what will happen is you'll start getting crackles and all sorts of things. And it's telling me what the latency is here. So the input latency is 3 milliseconds. The output latency is 80 milliseconds. Excuse me, I need to get rid of this cough. And if I change this, so if I go to rapid, what you'll find at some point it will start, it's starting to glitch and crackle. It's faster, but it's not quite doing it because it's trying to process it quicker than the computer can handle it. And so obviously if I go to really high speed, you know, in an ideal bit, and it just gets worse. Now it varies from program to program, and you know, there isn't a set figure for this, so you've really just got to go in and play around. So what I've realised is generally when I'm working on my laptop and Ableton Live, I go to fast, so I've got a small amount of latency, but it's good enough. It gets me by. So that's actually the ASIO driver that comes with this particular Behringer audio interface. But there are others as well. If I go back into this, you'll soon start finding that you use this preferences box all the time. I've got another ASIO driver, and this one is great if you actually haven't bought an audio interface and you're just using your standard sound card that comes on your laptop or your PC or whatever, but you want to try and get rid of some of that latency. And this is really good because it if I select that, you'll find now I've got this box down here, and I can click on that, and again this has got its own sort of setup for changing the latency amount, basically the number of samples, the buffer size and all that, just different terminology for the same thing. And you can see down here it's showing me, I can't go over it without it disappearing, but to the left, the box that appears at the bottom, it's to the left is lower latency, but obviously more chance of glitches there. And if I go the other way, reduce the glitches, but you're going to get more latency. So it's a free download this, so just do a Google search ASIO for all, and it's really good. It works on, I've used it on a few PCs and I haven't found any problems, and it's just really good at sort of getting rid of that latency. But I'm going to go back to the Behringer one. So have a play with that, and you'll find it's different for different programs. Like I said before, I mean, what I do find is if I'm using programs like, well, if I'm using Propellerhead's Reason, one of the best things about Reason is it's just so efficient, and you can get the latency really low in that. So I find I can push it a little bit more, I can drive it a bit more sort of lower latency without getting the glitches. But that comes at the price of, obviously, in Propellerhead's Reason you can't use third-party plugins and things like that. But it's a far more efficient program. So yeah, hopefully that will have solved some of the problems setting up, you know, drivers and things like that.